Hello and welcome back to the Chakra Vision podcast. And once again today I've got Gurpage Ghola on the other side. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's nice to be back.
Yeah, definitely needed to have you back for the topic we're about to discuss today.
Yeah, of course. We've been talking about it for a while, but I feel like now's the time.
Yeah. And it is caste discrimination that we wanted to talk about today. Um
Of course.
and I don't really know I know where the thought arised for us to talk about this, but um even like myself as well, I've always like shrugged it off. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
I've never really taken it seriously. Um, but it's a real thing that takes place in India, Nepal, and anywhere really. It happens in England. Um,
It does. It does.
and along with the Black Lives, because it's the Black Lives Matter movement is going on,
Exactly.
which
So
is
this is kind of like
yeah,
close to home for us as
yeah,
well. Like it kind
100%.
of like with the whole BLM movement, I've also seen like caste being addressed a lot more, which is good
Yeah,
because I think it's been ignored for a long, long time.
yeah, 100%. It's been God knows, like you're how would have you like in what extent have you experienced caste discrimination?
Well, like to be fair, it's a weird one. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean? Because like, especially because we live in like the western part of the world,
yeah,
it's kind of like it's there, but it's not there. Do you know what I
mm,
mean? Like your
mm,
parents and family kind of still believe it, but they don't really talk to you about it. They just kind of do it themselves for you in the
mm,
background. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
if they don't talk to these people and they say you're not allowed to, like they know that, oh, we're not gonna, it's like say if they want you to have a rista or something or like marry someone, in
mm,
their head they know that like they don't want you to marry them, but they don't really tell you. They kind of set you up with who they want to set you
mm,
up as, that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like I've seen it happen,
yeah,
like obviously not to me, but like to like family members and stuff.
yeah,
It's kind of just like an unspoken thing, but happens. Do you
yeah.
know what I mean?
It's just constantly in the background, but you don't talk about it
Yeah,
because you just think that is how it is. Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I think that that's what people are getting pissed off about now. It's not, it shouldn't be like that. That is not how it should be. Again, it goes back to like, if let's say um a Nepalese girl or a Gujarati girl tries to marry a British or a black guy, straight away,
Exactly.
they're like, no,
Nope. Never,
no,
never,
not
never,
happening.
never.
And with blacks is
Exactly.
worse because it's because of the color.
Exactly.
With white, it's more
Exactly.
because of the culture,
And
culture clash.
I also feel like people also miss that is that India has
Yeah.
a big, 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 big racism problem, like
Mm,
enormous, like with caste and with color, like
yeah.
even like I say it all the time, like Indians hate Indians the most.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Mm,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like why do we hate ourselves the most? Like if you
Yeah.
go to India and you see someone who's like slightly darker than you, they'll automatically write you off. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's actually it's a big big problem.
Yeah. And so caste is like, let's say your surname like defines
Yeah,
what caste you belong to. And the higher, like we did this in religious studies.
yeah, we did.
Shout out to Tara Baker. Was it Baker?
Tara, yeah, Tara Baker
Tara Baker, yeah. Shout out to Tara Baker
and Sue. Even
and
though
Sue.
she did ethics story,
Man,
it's
honestly,
still
Sue, like, I love both of them, but Sue,
sweetheart.
man, on another level.
But yeah,
um, but there's different levels of caste, and
yeah,
depending on which one you belong to, it's like how much freedom you have in society to do
it,
certain things. Um,
literally,
and obviously, like Gerb said, like you are determined by your caste because of your skin color. So let's say you're dark skinned but you're an Indian, and people will assume you're a Dalit, which is
yeah, lowest of
how did
the
yeah, the lowest of them
castes.
lowest. They were
And
was it
it's the thing is,
untouchables or
Untouchables, yeah. The thing is, like, the Untouchables or the Dalits are like newer compared to all the other ones as well. It's
yeah,
like they had to make a newer one for like even lower people. Like,
yeah,
it just proves how bad it is. Do you
bad
know
it
what I
is.
mean?
Yeah,
Because it's
exactly.
basically like for anyone who is listening and doesn't actually know what caste is, it's a social stratification system, like a hierarchy which puts people based on their karma or their past lives into a social system. So like obviously you have like Brahmins at the top, and then obviously untouchables right at the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's basically it. So it's like it's not even it's thing is it's weird because obviously it comes from like Hinduism, like over like I was reading of something like it's been there for like over 3,000 years. Like
Mm.
caste has been a thing in the world before Christianity even came about. Like that's how deep rooted like caste is within like Indian religions.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
it's actually ridiculous.
Yeah,
But
it is, and you're born into it, so you don't have a
you
choice.
are exactly.
It's what your family are. So
Because
um,
the thing is, it's also weird because obviously with Sikhism, obviously with me, it's slightly different. The caste for us is slightly different to like Hinduism and
mm,
other Indian religions. Because like for obviously for like in Hinduism, caste is basically the top two. So it's the Brahmins and like Kshatriyas, I think that's how you
yeah,
say it.
yeah,
Those two are basically you can get enlightened, you can
mm,
get like what they call mukti, you can get it, and you're like highest spiritual level. But if you're below that, you
mm,
can't get it. So your aim in life is just to do what job you've been given in society until you get
mm,
reborn
mm,
into the top two, and then you can carry out your religious deeds and what you need to do to become enlightened. But
yeah,
like for us, it's weird. Like ever since the religion of Sikhism started,
mm,
it was never religious. It's always been a social thing to control people. So like
mm,
for us, it has nothing to do with spirituality. Like someone at the bottom of like the Sikh caste, there's three castes, I forgot what they're called, but if you're at the bottom, you can be enlightened just like someone is at the top. So
mm,
it's weird. Like for a religion that deeply frowns on it, and for like this is the beginning of it being told that it's a bad thing and we condemn it, but it's still being used against like us in India to socially like condemn certain people. It
mm,
just makes no sense for like the religion. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
100%. And to a certain extent, religion itself has been misinterpreted. Like, um, it's so like you said, in Sikhism, the castes, the lower castes can also get enlightened.
Yeah,
The case is the same in Hinduism as well, believe it
yeah,
or not.
yeah,
Anyone can get enlightened, but the first two, so the Brahma and the is it Kaish? I
yeah.
can't
Like
say it, man.
Kshatriyas,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So that's the working class, and Brahmas are like the enlightened ones. They're
yeah,
the
yeah,
they're the
yeah,
highest class caste. But whereas those two castes seek for enlightenment through um spiritual practice and through
yeah,
like renouncing themselves, the
yeah.
lower castes, they most not have to, but they seek for enlightenment through work because they have no other choice but to work for survival,
There you
whereas
go.
the upper
Yeah,
castes have that advantage. But that doesn't mean
they can't.
you can't get
Okay,
enlightened, and that's another
all
thing that
right.
people get
Mixed up. I mean, even
yeah,
I just got it mixed up. Like
mixed up.
it's hard to understand
Yeah.
because all they show you is these two are bad, these two are good. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
So you kind of get lost in what it actually is.
exactly, because that's how you're taught, and that's how your parents
Yeah,
are taught. So they tell you the same thing. um and again, I had someone come up to me, message me on Instagram and said,
yeah,
and they basically said like how, like what, why does the Hinduism, why does the Gita, the holy book,
yeah,
say that God created the different castes and he divided everyone. um
yeah.
and again, it's like cherry picking. Again,
It
people, like,
is. It is
if you cherry pick, you can give any definition to any verse in any religious text.
without context, you can make it sound however you want.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But if you are if you are thinking of reading the Gita, or if you are reading the Gita, make sure you understand that reading it, every time God says, like, every time Krishna says, I did this and I did that, what he means is he's putting yourself in, like, you have to put yourself in his shoes. So there's a verse
yeah,
which goes, the distinctions of caste and karma have come from me, when he says that, he doesn't mean I brought it. It means that humanity
Yeah,
have got it. So like an
exactly.
individual has brought it up. So it's not God saying, oh bro, like, you know, I'm dividing these
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's literally like what people also misconstrue in like different religions, like you see it in Christianity, you see it in Hinduism and Sikhism, everywhere,
mm,
is when people cherry pick, like you can make any problem, like anything, into like whatever you want. It's like, and what people also don't understand is when they talk about things in each holy book, they're talking about it relevant to the time it's written.
yeah.
So it's relevant to what's going on when it's being written, what the community is like, because like you just said, that shows that it wasn't God, it was what was going on at the
Yeah.
time. It was people. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And people misread that because they think, oh, it's a holy book, so it's from God. Do you know what I
Mm,
mean? But
mm.
no, these religious books also give you context of what the people are doing at the time to give you more insight into what like they're teaching you.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's what people, you know, that's the, and you know, we've said, I think we've had conversations multiple times saying that, you know, certain religious texts like are a little bit what's the word, outdated, it like
Yeah,
in a
yeah, yeah.
sense with certain things, you know.
You can say that about every religion. Like, of course, it's going to be like, of course, the culture that's spoken about it in the book is going to be outdated. Like some of these books, like are written thousands of years ago. Of course, it's
Yeah,
going to be outdated. Do you know what I
exactly,
mean?
exactly. um but again, you know, going back to caste and discrimination, um you know, if you are a lower caste, then there are only certain jobs you are allowed to do. So,
Yeah,
you know, you can be a sewer, you can be a cleaner of the sewers, you know, you'll be digging shit out. Or do you know what I mean? I don't want to say
yeah,
all the jobs. I don't,
yeah.
you know,
We don't want to like, yeah, but
yeah.
there's obviously when they talk about it, there's jobs to which they give examples. But I guess all we need to know is that in caste, whenever it's spoken about, there's higher do. I put this in bracket, like in
Mm,
quote marks, better jobs than others. Do you know what I
others.
mean?
Yeah, exactly. And because of that, you are judged. And again, if you are a lower caste, you cannot, another thing, you cannot marry someone which
Oh
is a
yeah,
different caste to you, which I think is
yeah,
the most fucked up
ridiculous.
thing that humanity can do to itself. It's like
Yeah,
it's like self-destruction.
it
I
is.
almost
It
feel
is.
like, um, and if you do marry someone, or if you even like attempt to love someone who's of another caste, you just already know
You're
your parents are going to be against it. Yeah, you'll
disowned
get
right
disowned,
there
like,
as
yeah,
well.
killed, you know, in certain parts of the
Yeah,
world you'll get
people
killed,
do.
like lynching, you know, it's daylight lynching.
Exactly, it happens. It
Yeah.
happens, and like what like annoys me as well in like Sikhism, like what I really don't understand is, okay, like we don't believe it, but it's been made into a thing because of social, like economics or whatever. So
Mm,
okay, it's a thing, but what I don't understand is, say if like you're in India and you go to the Gurdwara and then you're sitting next to someone and literally you're on the same level, you all sit on the floor, you all eat your food and
mm,
it's all calm, you're having a conversation, but then as
mm.
soon as you leave, you ask the same man that you're talking to 10 minutes ago what caste he is from, just because
Yeah,
like it's a thing outside of your religious, do you know
yeah,
what I mean? Just because
exactly.
it's now in society, it makes no sense. And that's what annoys me, is because they tried to, like what I have seen and what I know is a problem within like Sikhism in Indian culture is they try to play like both sides of the field, and
Yeah,
it kind of is contradictory. Like you can't be like advocating all these religious equalities and religious beliefs and then also upstand discrimination at the
yeah,
heart. Do you know what I mean?
exactly. And that's the thing, I feel like with something like cars, it's you know, people, to look good on the surface level, people are like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, you know, I don't do caste discrimination, I think everyone is
yeah,
the
yeah,
same.
yeah,
But like inside, when it actually comes, like, you know, if a black man comes into your house and says, I want to marry your daughter, or if a black girl wants to marry your
yeah.
son, then what you're gonna do? That, you know, that's when
Exactly.
you're like real,
That's when it comes out. It
yeah,
does come out.
that's
And
when it
like a
comes
good
out.
example of this was, I remember in Simmons' first year, Do you remember I used to go Sikh society? Yeah, like with
Oh yeah.
Torahs before we had Torah and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I used to go Sikh society, and one of the guys in Sikh society, I forgot like his name. I wouldn't say his name anyway, but
Yeah.
he was like to me. I literally remember he just went. He went, oh yeah, it doesn't. He literally said this. He was like, oh, it doesn't matter what caste you're. But he's like, what caste are you? And I told him like what my family is, and
Yeah.
then he went, oh, that's sick, man. Same. Like it was like the best thing in the world. Like
Yeah.
I was gaining like his approval because of that.
100%.
But how can you ask? Like how can you say you don't care and you're just asking out of
Asking.
curiosity, but then
Yeah.
get really happy when you find out we're the same? Do
Exactly.
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's the like hidden. It's like closet
Yeah.
racism, but in caste. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%. And it's so like it's so ingrained in our society. I feel like that it like even though it's such a big problem, if you think about it, it's not talked about. It's not talked about.
It's not. It's not.
A lynching
I think
because of
that's
go on.
No, I think Indians are just scared of. We're scared of our past, aren't we? Really, like as a country, we hide from every bad thing that's happened in the country and we ignore it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that's just something Indians do anyway. Even with like we talk about mental health and stuff. Like not saying like parents do it all the time, but in Indians in general, if someone has mental health problems, you just kind of ignore it because you don't really see it as anything. Do you know what I mean? They're like, if we don't see it, it's not a problem. If we don't talk about it, it's not a problem. And I think even outside of caste, just in general, that's like a thinking that I think Indians have, which isn't good.
Yeah, 100%. You know, the same with the Nepalese community here. You know, I've seen the fakest people like during my lifetime who like, you will know who you are if you listen to this shit, because you've like, you are that. But people who say one thing to you, but they actually like, when it comes to actually like making a decision or like judging, they are completely different, because they are ingrained with that like discrimination, and they are taught that anyone who's not
you are taught it. That is it. Like without actively being told about it, you are taught it.
You are taught it. Yeah, exactly.
It's almost taught to you like habit. It's almost like this is the way you are, so just keep acting like this. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And what also is annoying is, I feel like in India, whether it's Hindu caste, Sikh caste, any part of India, like they use pride and like yourself and how proudful you should be of your religion and your caste as a way to keep it ingrained in society. So like you'll see, like they'll be like, oh, you're a Brahmin, and they'll do things for Brahmin which makes you feel powerful. And do you know what I mean? And then they'll make like Dalits feel really low, so you know that you are low and you want to be them. It's something as simple as like, I read this thing and it was like in like the 1800s or whatever, say there was like more simplistic jobs, so like there was farmers, whatever. Like say if you were Sikh and you were a farmer in India, they made it so like they made caste practical. So it was like if you are a farmer, it's impractical for you to then go marry a princess. Do you know what I mean? It's not practical because your lives don't match up. So that's why people thought, you know what, that makes sense. I'm a farmer, she lives in a mansion, I'm going to be in the field all day. She's going to have be weighted on it. It's not really going to work. But they make you believe that. Really, that means nothing, because if you care and love about someone, it doesn't matter what your job is. But they make it seem practical, and I feel like they still do that today. They kind of make you proudful of like what caste you're in, and they're like, you're this job, so be proud of like what you do, and like don't go outside of that. Do you know what I mean? They kind of manipulate you into feeling like that's what you are.
That's what you are. Yeah, 100%. And it happens every day. You see it in so many different like cases that that go on. And I'm sure a lot of people have experience, like I don't like, again, like Black Lives Matter, like racism, like you can't get rid of caste, like you can't just get rid of it. And you can't get rid, and I don't think getting rid of certain laws, it will help to a certain extent, but if you really want to get rid of the root of the problem, then we, you know, people need to be educated, and people need to
They do,
they need
because
to, you know, yeah,
I think also people get mixed up between caste and class, like like
yeah,
people like, especially like when we spoke about it in college and stuff, it's kind of shown like caste is class. So like obviously in this country and obviously many countries, you have class. So you have working class, like middle, upper, whatever.
mhm,
But the thing is, class, like the class system, you can change class. So you
mhm,
can grow up working class, but then you can get education, you can get a job, you can get money, you can gain power and move up to middle class and move
mhm,
up to higher class.
mhm,
Caste is different. Caste is rigid. You're
yeah,
born into your caste, and no matter what you do, you will not change your caste until you die and get reborn.
yeah,
I think that's what people get mixed up. It's nothing like class. You can't work your
yeah,
way up or down it. You're stuck, and that's why
yeah,
it's so hard to change, because you're taught that you're this and it's never going to change until you die. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah,
get reborn.
yeah,
So that's why it's so deeply rooted.
yeah. And obviously if we want to change it, we you know, it's gonna have to start in the home. There have been, like, you know, there have been times where in the past where I haven't really like been thinking about it this way, but in the past my parents have been like, oh, you know, like so there's this like, so there's this thing called Baun. So I'm a
Yeah,
Baun, like in our caste,
yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
Baun. And there's like Chitri, and you know, there's loads of different castes, and
Yeah, there's those are
um
like mini casts within the big casts. Yeah,
within the
and
big
it
caste,
depends
yeah.
on villages and part of
Oh
country
god.
you live. Like
Yeah.
like that's also one thing. That was a good thing you said. Like you get taught casts as these main five, but
Mm.
it also depends on what country, like area of the country you're from, and
Yeah.
even down to your specific village.
Yeah.
Like in certain villages, like there might be two castes in a village, but they literally won't speak. They won't share water supply, food supply,
Yeah.
nothing. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? It.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing though, like we don't really talk about it, and when our parents speak about it and they discriminate and they say like, oh yeah, you shouldn't, you know, like, so have, you know, I've had this said to me, like, you know, bless my parents, you know, they're not, do you know what I mean, like the generations are changing now, so we are getting more
Yeah,
education in terms of these kind of things, but you know, bless their souls, they've said things like, you know, you shouldn't marry a Chetri, and you shouldn't do this, and you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't fall in love because
yeah,
society won't accept you, you know, our caste won't accept you. And at the time I was like, oh yeah, it makes sense because it did, you
okay,
know what I mean, it's
yeah,
like, because that's what
yeah.
I had
Because
grown
that's
up
just
with.
because when you first get told it,
Mm.
like like it's kind of like, okay, it's like a system. You're like, it makes sense. It's a system
Yeah, it's an
to put people
identity.
in place.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But that's the problem. You like, for most people in India, it stops at that. There's no, like you said,
There's no-
further education on what
Mhm.
it actually is.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't, you know, cherry picking religious texts, and using verses within the Gita to discriminate is probably the biggest sin you can commit, um,
Exactly.
in terms of really, you know, if we talk about religion. But yeah, I just feel like it needs to start in the home, where we need to actually stand up, like Black Lives Matter. When
Yeah.
someone is, you know, when your parents are talking in a way of discrimination or to discriminate, then you need to stand up and be like, yo, this is wrong, like, you know,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
wrong, why can't I do this, give me a good reason, and they'll just shut up, you know, because they don't have a
Exactly.
good reason. They're
They
like,
don't.
oh,
They
our religion says it, and I'm like, it's not
Yeah.
the
They
religion, it's the
always
culture, it's the culture, you could,
exactly.
don't blame it on the religion.
There you go. It's
Yeah.
culture, not religion. People get mixed up about culture and religion in every single religion that
Mm,
I've ever been told about. Literally
exactly.
every religion is there's culture and religion just somehow just. I know it's mixed and it's easy to get mixed up, but I think sometimes you also have to look at, like, caste. You can see its culture, but it's been
Yeah.
taught as religion for so long that,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
people like our parents just don't see it as anything else.
Yeah.
So I guess, like you said, you just have to educate them. I mean,
Yeah.
like, they're obviously going to feel like they know it because they've been practicing religion their whole life, but you
Mm.
just have to, like, that's
You
the
have to.
only way
Yeah.
there's going to be change. You have to
Yeah.
teach people.
Yeah. Because in their hearts, I think they know it's wrong. to
Yeah,
discriminate. I think they know
yeah,
it's
yeah,
wrong,
yeah. Of course,
but
of course.
they fear that their belief,
Mm,
if they change their beliefs, the people around them, so the older, our uncles and our
mm.
aunties, they will then start judging. And that's the biggest fear in any Asian community, like in terms of India, Pakistan.
Honestly, you just said it. Like outside of caste, just in general, what is the thing that I'm pretty sure every like Asian person listening to this right now has heard is don't do that or someone will think this.
Yeah.
Don't do that or someone will talk about us. Don't do that or they'll tell someone. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
That it's like in Indian culture, you're scared of what other people think about you. You're scared about being judged.
Mm.
And that is so deep rooted that people are willing to change themselves or
Mm.
how their children or their family acts just because of other people.
Other
Even if
people.
you're acting in a completely normal way, they're still willing to stop you acting
Mm.
just for others. And I feel like that also comes from caste, because
Yeah.
obviously in caste you're not allowed to act in a certain way
Yeah.
if you're in a certain caste. So
Yeah.
so it makes sense onto why it's just become a value for like
Yeah.
Asian people.
Exactly. And there's a lot of, there's a lot of good things. And, people, now when people say Hinduism,
Yeah.
people just instantly, the Western world thinks, caste. Name
Yeah,
one
yeah,
thing
yeah.
about Hinduism
Yeah.
that's bad, the caste system.
Caste,
And it's
exactly.
just like,
Name one thing about Hinduism in general, people will probably say
say,
caste.
yeah, exactly. And, it's like, it's the culture, it's the
Yeah.
people, and it's the beliefs that we have brought up. It was, it started off as a way to just like kind of divide people, but it wasn't meant to divide people in a negative way. But obviously when you put
Yeah, it was
someone
just
like
for
a Brahmin,
control.
yeah, and
Yeah.
when you put someone in power, obviously they're going to oppress everyone that's below them.
Oh,
That's just,
of
that's
course.
how it
That's
works.
human nature.
Yeah.
That's human nature. Everyone
Exactly.
wants power.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be better. Do you know what I mean? Even you can be the nicest guy in the world, but you still want better, even if it's for yourself. Do you know what I mean? And
Exactly. And
it's
yeah.
like, yeah, just to go back, it's like what you said. Oh, my brain's just gone now. But no, it's
That's
like what
because
you
your brother
said.
is distracting. I literally
Yeah,
just saw him
yeah.
crawling into the bed.
Yeah, I'm literally like, what is he doing? But
Yeah.
nah, carry on now. My brain's gone.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I remember. Yeah,
We did this last podcast as well. Do you remember
yeah, we did,
talking
we
about
did.
Shah Rukh Khan? Yeah.
True.
But yeah, no, I
No,
was
no,
just
actually, no. I got it now.
yeah, go on.
Like you said, when people talk about Hinduism, and literally one of the first things you'll think about is caste.
Mm,
Like the same problem is when you talk about Sikhism, you
mm,
don't think caste.
yeah.
It's like one religion is it's all it like it's seen as, and
Mm,
one is trying its best to hide it.
I
And
did.
it's like two different ends of the same problem. Like
Mm,
one is deeply rooted in it, but it's showing it, and
mm,
one is deeply rooted in it, but it's trying to hide it. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? And I
exactly.
think for both, like from both sides of it, whether you're
Yeah,
showing it or hiding it, you
yeah,
need to educate yourself and stop it. Do you know
yeah,
what I mean? Because
exactly.
I guarantee both sides know it's wrong. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
100%. When you say ill to someone, when you say something bad, let's say I don't know you and I come up to you and
Yeah,
I say, oh bro, like look at you, like you got long hair, like you got
yeah,
dreads, what are you doing?
yeah,
If I say that, I know
yeah.
in my heart that what
That's
I'm
wrong.
doing is affecting me. Like bro, it fucks up
Mm,
energies within me. But after a
mm.
certain point, you get so used to being like that those
It
energies
becomes you.
aren't. Yeah, it becomes you.
Yeah,
It's like I
yeah,
read this thing where someone said that if like if someone can kill, if we can shoot and kill pigs, then
yeah,
we can shoot and kill humans,
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
I mean we can shoot and kill
You do it for
living
long
things.
enough, you'll get
Yeah,
used to it.
exactly. And that's it's like um with the Black Lives Matter, it's like, how are these police getting educated? How are
Yeah.
these police officers getting trained? What have they been through? Like, you know
The
what are their
answer is they're
family
not.
lives like? Yeah. Huh?
They're not getting trained, they're not
Yeah,
getting anything, and they need to.
exactly.
It's like the same problem with all of this. No one's being told the truth, no one's being educated.
Yeah.
Everyone's just being like go and do what you want sort of thing. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And people hopping on bandwagons if
Of course.
without doing their own research. That's why our parents' generation didn't make any changes in terms of like how we think, because they didn't go out and do their own research. They were told
Yeah,
something by their parents, and they just thought,
parents,
yeah, that's it, that's the truth,
exactly.
believe it.
And that's why we're lucky. Like, you can't even blame them because they didn't have the resources we have. Like,
Yeah,
our
definitely.
generation is the change. You can literally get your phone. I don't care how bad your phone is. Even you can literally have a brick phone nowadays and still get Google on it. Do you
Mm,
know what I mean? And you can search and research
yeah,
everything you want to and teach yourself and those around you, because like the generations before us didn't have that. So it was just word of mouth from
or
what your
books,
parents and
and
elders
yeah,
told you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. It's, yeah, that's what I'm feeling. That's what I completely agree with you. But again, I see a lot of people jumping on, hopping on to,
Yeah.
I like, you hear a news or you hear a statement or you see a statement which is shared on Instagram. People don't do their own research as to like what that statement means and what, like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? If it's true or not, and then they just share it. It's like
Exactly.
it because it sounds
They
right and it sounds important.
exactly.
People are like, yeah, repost it, we share it. And I've seen a lot of people like share the wrong thing about the caste system,
Yeah.
saying that it's the
Exactly.
Indian
People.
religion which
Yeah.
like influence it and stuff. I'm like, fuck off. Is it the, I'm sorry my
Like, do
language, but
your
it pisses me off.
research.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
it's not the Indian religion, it's not the Hindu religion. Hinduism isn't even a religion. I can't call myself a Hindu. It's like it's a way of
Yeah.
life. So you can't come up
Exactly.
to me and call me a Hindu, because I don't consider myself a Hindu. I just follow a path that,
To
like,
God.
yeah, to God, to find myself. Like,
Exactly.
it's more spirituality than like anything else.
Exactly.
We it's not strict. We have the freedom
Yeah.
to like
Yeah.
think how we want,
Exactly.
act how we want,
Like,
love. Realistically, we have the freedom to love how we want. But what happens is culture comes in and says, caste,
yeah. No.
yeah, we can't let you love. We can't let you
There you
let you love
go.
that girl because
And
she's,
that's the difference.
yeah.
That's the difference. You just said it. Like, religion. That's what is hard about it as well. It's like religion teaches you one thing, but
Hmm.
like all the time we seem to follow culture before religion.
Yeah,
Like, how can
definitely.
your religion teach you peace and teach you equality and
Mm,
teach you how to be a good person, and then
mm,
culture tell you, no, this person needs to be here and that person needs to be there, and you can't do this and you can't do that, and you just listen to that
listen
when
to
your
that.
religion is telling you completely otherwise.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
exactly,
mean?
exactly.
It's confusing. It's so
Yeah,
confusing, and I think people get lost in that confusion.
yeah.
And throughout time, like governments and leaders in societies and like throughout human history have
Mm,
used fear and these social like systems, stratification systems, to control people and
mm,
mix them within religion. Like, I read this thing, like, when Britain colonized India,
mm,
India was like, what people don't know is like Britain, like the British colonization made caste worse.
mm,
Before caste came into India,
mm,
like people used it, but they were more religious than what they cared about culture. Whereas after Britain invaded it, they
mm,
saw caste, saw villages using caste,
mm.
and they went, "This is perfect.
Yeah,
Let's teach them that this is the way." And they
yeah,
also embedded the problem in Indian history where they went, "This is how we're going to control you because you guys came up with this anyway," and made it
yeah,
worse. Do you know
yeah.
what I mean? And
It's
people
a
also ignore that.
Yeah, and it's like Gandhi said, divide and rule. That's what they did. That's what the
Exactly.
British did.
Divide and conquer. There you
Yeah,
go.
that's it. You tell people, and you basically you destroy the country because you see that it has a weakness. So you use that weakness
Exactly. You
and
pick on the weakness.
amplify it.
Like,
Yeah.
literally. So basically, 1948,
Mm,
India gained independence. Yeah.
yeah.
In what? So in all the 50s, I think it was 1958, they made caste illegal in
Mm,
India. In 1958, caste became illegal because they wanted to get it out and make jobs equal and all that because they gained independence.
mm,
But tell me how caste can be illegal, yet there's a 60% pay gap between those recognized as Brahmins
mm-hmm.
and those recognized as Dalits. If
Yeah.
it's illegal, how can you get a job in India and your pay be lower because of your caste?
Yeah.
It makes, like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It shows how there is a clear problem.
Yeah. 100%.
It's
And
like,
Yeah, and because of your surname and stuff as well, and you don't get certain
Exactly.
jobs, like
Exactly.
it's in England as well. It's in England as well. It's
It
if
happens here.
like if you have a if you're a black man or if you're an Asian man, someone called Suhevadikari is less likely
Yeah.
to get a job
To
than
get a
someone
job.
who's called like John, God knows, John Wick, John.
Why do you think
Yeah.
like some of us like Indians like they like growing up like you get given like a Christian name.
Mm,
So like when you like apply for a job or something like that, you're more likely to get called
likely.
for an interview or get the job. Do
Exactly.
you know what I mean? Literally, like
Exactly.
our parents have done that, our family has done that. Like some like my cousins, I literally call them by their Christian name even before their
Mhm.
their Indian name, just because they've used their Christian name for work and jobs, and we've even got so used to it ourselves calling them that name. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Even
Exactly.
though legally that's not even their name,
Yeah. Yeah. And just for, you just see it here as
just to fit
well.
in.
Yeah, just to fit in. And that's the thing that's the thing we shouldn't be, it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be that, if I'm a Dalit, I should have the same rights as a Brahmin to get the
Exactly.
job, because you know I'm just as clever. I have a brain, I
Mm,
God doesn't, it's not like God gave me half a brain and God
exactly.
gave Brahmin a full brain.
If
Yeah.
you have full like if you have like the same opportunities, you
Hmm.
can do anything as the Brahmins can. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
You just need to
Yeah.
be given that opportunity, and people in lower caste aren't given those opportunities. They're just condemned.
Yeah, exactly. And again, going back to when you said how religion, people confuse religion with culture and stuff.
Yeah,
It's like, again, I feel like it happens from when scriptures are like misread, or they're like, they're just they're tweaked with, again, cherry picking.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
like the verse I read, like the little section I read earlier, when God says
yeah,
the distinctions of caste and karma have come from me. Just after that, he says, I am their cause. But,
yeah.
people are saying, oh, look, it's God. He's just, people literally be like, they'll poke it out and they'll be like, look, God has literally just said, I am the cause of caste. I have caused
Yeah,
caste discrimination.
yeah.
But on the same book, if you look at the start, God is telling you that when I say I'm talking about you. I'm talking like
About
thinking.
you, yeah,
Yeah.
because you
Think.
are me. We're one.
Yeah.
It's the
So
Dharma,
it's the
exactly.
Dharma. Exactly. It's like anything you do affects me too.
Yeah,
That's what he's saying. But people are like, oh, nah, like God said this, God said that. And as soon as you start doing that, that gets passed down the generations. And people are like, oh, nah, like, in India, like I've had people who are like, oh, yeah, like, Krishna said, you should, that the caste system is so important because it keeps people where they're supposed to be and shit
yeah,
and this and that. Um, but in, this day and age, obviously not everyone can, you can't just read, you don't just read the Gita, what I mean? You just
yeah.
kind of like look at what's on the internet and you look at the main verses and you learn from that, because reading the Gita is a big text.
It is.
um
It is. Like
but
it's easy
that's
to get confused.
but it's easy to get confused. It's like there are
It is.
like of the same Gita. So the Gita, the version I have of the Gita, guess how many
Yeah.
translations there are?
Probably hundreds.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
250 or something like that of the same Gita.
exactly.
So it takes one or two
Exactly.
words.
With a book that has like over 2,000 pages as well. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
Like
It literally takes, all you have to do is tweak a few words, few
exactly.
words, and people are like, oh
Exactly.
shit, this is how it
Shit,
is. But it's
yeah,
the wrong thing.
exactly. Because
Um,
most people don't actually read it themselves either.
yeah,
They're like, oh, this person knows what they're talking about. They've read it. But we'll trust them. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
It's hopping on.
When they can be completely wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Again, it
And
goes
like
back to like
talking
not doing
about,
your own. Yeah,
yeah,
100%. Like, especially now, obviously, like you said, our parents didn't have that choice, but now
yeah,
we do. And
we have that.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
we
if
have a
you
choice.
really, really want to make a change, and if you really, really care, then don't just post on Instagram. Um,
Yeah,
do what are you doing in your day-to-day life that is cutting out caste discrimination? Um, what,
yeah,
if you're seeing it, if you're hearing it from the people you love, are you standing up to it? That's how you're
yeah.
going to change it, because you can, we can, like I said, we can change rules, and I'm sure you will
You
agree with
can, you
this. We
can.
can change rules and we can make life easier for the untouchables and the Dalits. But
Exactly.
as long as the Brahmin thinks he is superior, and he has
it will
validation
stay
that he is
because
superior.
it's easy when you're at the top to not care about the problem. It's like with everything that's going on, just like you were telling you to educate yourself on
Mm,
caste. It's why the whole world's telling you to educate yourself on Black Lives Matter.
yeah,
It's because the people who aren't experiencing the problem often ignore. Most people don't even realize it, but you just ignore the problem
you
because
ignore it.
you don't experience it.
Yeah,
But the change comes from those people who can change. Like me and
yeah,
you, if people like us denounced caste, people would follow. Do you know what I mean?
100%,
But
100%.
they don't do that because the people who are in India and still follow it, and the higher people still have the money and the power, and the lower people are denounced
Mm,
and like just thrown to the side. It's never going to change. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
100%. And another great example of the caste system in India is Bollywood itself.
Oh
How many
yes,
great
yes. I'm
actors have we
glad you say
seen?
that.
How many great actors have we seen who have committed suicide, or because they haven't been recognized by Bollywood
Wasn't there
for
one
their,
recently?
yeah, Sushant Singh.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
committed suicide because he was, well, what I heard is he was, he was never recognized, and I agree that he was never truly recognized for his
Yeah.
for his talent. And obviously, when you're in such a big industry and your mates are, your mates are
You
getting
don't
recognized for shitty movies, and you're making life changing
exactly
movies which aren't getting recognized, you'll be like, yo, what's short? Why am I shortcoming?
because people don't actually see what goes on behind the scenes either.
Yeah,
You just watch the films, don't you?
yo,
And also
exactly.
one easy thing, like if even if you're not Indian and you've ever like if you know about Bollywood or seen Bollywood actors, especially in the women, how many times do you see all Bollywood actors be really white, extremely
Mm,
white,
mm,
extremely white? And when you watch the movies, when they show people from like lower income, not caste, but like lower families, lower income, because that's how these movies usually work.
yeah,
Like someone who's poor goes with someone who's not poor.
yeah,
Their family's usually dark actors, like really
yeah,
dark, like do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
that itself is showing, like they're literally
The
showing you in
difference.
movies, and you choose to ignore it. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, exactly. And
That's how
obviously,
normalized it is.
yeah, when you're little, it's hard to see that because you look at
Yeah,
Priyanka Chopra as a young guy, you look at Priyanka Chopra and
yeah.
you're like, my God, she's beautiful. And then now
But you're not
after
realizing they're showing you someone who's white. Like literally, they'll put makeup on these people
makeup on,
to make them whiter. Do you know
yeah,
what I mean?
and again, Priyanka Chopra, she's doing now she's saying Black Lives Matter, this, that. But bro, this is the same
What about
lady
your own country?
who promotes skin whitening products
Exactly.
so that you're not dark
And
skinned anymore. And it's like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Um,
exactly.
what's that comedian? Is it Hassan Miraj? Is it
Oh
Hassan?
yeah, he's good. He's good.
Yeah,
My
he's
brain.
good. Like, he talks about it in one of his
What's
videos.
his show on? What's his show on Netflix? Because people should watch that. He talks about loads of like all these
Yeah, yeah.
topics.
I
I'll
can't
yeah,
remember the
Karen,
name
I'll
of it.
search for it.
But yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like the caste system is very normalized, and when lynching and stuff happens, it doesn't make the headline. Like when a black man gets shot,
Yeah,
it doesn't make the headline, and
headlines
no one cares
exactly.
about it. It's just as big of a problem, It's because people are dying, like innocent people are dying for no reason whatsoever apart from the color of their skin, their surnames, um,
Who they
and
love.
yeah, and who they love. Like I said, there was a case in Nepal where a guy from a low caste fell in love with a
Oh yeah,
girl from a higher caste, and they went to the girl's village to get the girl because he wanted to run away, and he took his friends with him when he went, and the villagers basically cornered them
yeah.
and forced them to jump in a river. And yesterday there was an update which said that while the boys were in the river, people were chucking stones at them, and half of the boys
There
were
you go.
killed. Half of the boys were
Heartless.
killed. Yeah. But the good thing is 27 or something people, I think it's 27 people have been
Yeah,
arrested, which is
that's
good.
good.
But
But look at that. When do you ever hear of a crime of 27 people all
mm,
doing like killing
yeah,
someone? Do you know what I mean?
exactly. It's like the
That
George
all these
Floyd
people
case.
thought it's
Yeah,
okay. Yeah,
yeah,
because the majority think it's okay.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. It's literally like the George Floyd case. Everyone who is involved
Yeah,
needs to be charged. They can't be
yeah,
released.
exactly. Because you let it happen, or you would,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Exactly. You let it happen, and you know, I guess it was apparently they were chucking stones at the boys, and you know, I just think, and I'm just like, what the
It's
fuck, man? My
horrible.
country,
It's
man.
horrible.
Like, you know, it's like,
Exactly.
why? Like, why does my caste matter? Why does the color of my skin matter? Because like at the end of the day, like I didn't, you know, you didn't choose to be here. You were, you know, you came here.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you're a
Everyone gets born the
byproduct of,
same.
yeah, you know, you're just a byproduct of what happened between your mom and your dad. Now you had no choice
Exactly.
over what skin color, what caste you were born into. You had no choice. But as soon as you come into the world, bam, already, you know, you're a Muslim or you're a Hindu, and you can't
You're
do this, you
this.
can't do that, you can't do
You're
this,
this
you can't.
color. You're that
Yeah,
color. You're from here.
yeah,
Like, there's so many ways in which they, like, people, you get segregated. Do you know what I mean? There's
yeah,
so many ways where humans have used to, like, just plot people in different
yeah,
areas and control them. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. Again, suppression, oppression, you know, people in power. Um, but
Caste is just like literally like what you were saying. Like, you hear those stories, and the thing is, there's tons of
yeah.
stories and cases like that. There's loads. There's cases where, like, people even get like raped and stuff just because,
Oh
like,
yeah,
you're lower caste and you
yeah.
get seen like you're nothing, so you can do it to them.
Oh
Do you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Like, there's
yeah,
loads of like horrible cases, and they're
yeah.
real. It's not stories. These are real
Real
cases.
cases, exactly. Imagine there was a case in India. All right, if you know, if you're
Yeah.
listening to this podcast right now, I want you to just like settle down, and I want you to listen to this. Um, Imagine there's a guy, right, and he was walking down the street, and he touched a cow. So he scraped a cow with his shoulder, right? Um,
Yeah.
so imagine you put yourself in that guy's shoes. So you're a guy walking down, you scrape a cow, and suddenly you've got about 50 people around you who are like, oh, this Dalit. So you know you're in the lower caste.
You're
This
the
Dalit just
lowest.
touched a
Yeah.
cow, which is a holy animal in India, if you didn't know. And Nepal. Um, you just touched a cow. So then what do they do? Imagine they, because of your caste and because you touched a cow, they strip you naked and they tie you to a pole and they chop your penis off and they beat you until you die. You're bleeding on the floor, and you know what are you know what the fuck are you meant to do? What the fuck are you meant to think?
You, you can't. Everyone's against you. You can't
Yeah,
do anything. You just have to take it. Do you know
exactly.
what I mean? And you
And we don't,
shouldn't.
yeah, and we don't hear about this. Why the fuck do we not?
Exactly.
Why do I need to search up cases of
Like
caste
caste
discrimination
discrimination.
and
Exactly.
find it on some charities page? Why is it not on the Times of India? Why is it not on their
Yeah.
website?
Literally.
Why does it not make a headline? Because they are disgusted. They are disgusted too. They don't want that to come out.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, what the fuck do they do to change the system? Nothing.
Nothing. Also, just to go back, we were talking about Hassan Minaj.
Oh yeah.
Basically, on Netflix, obviously, he talks about it. His show's called The Patriot Act, and it's Volume 2, Episode 1, and the episode's called Indian Elections. And in the
Okay.
episode, he basically talks about the elections, but how, like, everything's rigged because it's to do with caste
Mm.
and, like, power, and, like, how the social system is, like, messed up. So, like, I'd recommend that episode because he
Yeah.
goes into depth about it as well.
Yeah, we'll put that yeah, if you're on Netflix, just search it. We'll put the name on the description
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah,
Um
yeah, yeah.
but yeah,
And
yeah, there's a lot of, yeah.
also, to go back, we were talking about like caste in Hinduism, and
Mm.
like it being cherry picked, and like people read it and just choose what they want, and
Mm-hmm.
like take it for how they want. It's the same in Sikhism. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking, and it's like, so like there's what 10 gurus in
Mm.
Sikhism, and each one is like each one just talked about the religion, spread God's word, and like
Mm-hmm.
all of that. You know what I mean? Like, basically,
Mm-hmm.
like what a prophet does.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, the first guru was Guru Nanak,
Mm-hmm.
and like one of the first things he did when he became a guru, he looked at what was happening in India and spoke about caste system. And one of the first things he did for Sikhism was say that caste is bad. He completely like wanted to
Yeah.
abolish it, completely wanted to create equality. And so like one of the ways like he showed this is, if you ever go to Gurdwara, like I'd obviously recommend anyone to go just for the experience.
Mm.
It's like, if you go, especially in India, you don't really do it in the UK or in like Western countries now, because people have tables and chairs and sit on tables and chairs.
Mm.
But in India, everyone sits on the floor to eat.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
so that shows you're on the same level. Everyone
Mm.
eats on the same level because everyone's the same.
Mm.
Like people, anyone's allowed to go in. People, there's no like chefs, there's none of that. People volunteer to make the food.
Mm.
Like there's stuff like that. He like basically did like different stuff like that to show that caste is not, it's not good. It's not
Yeah.
religion, it's culture. So
Mm.
he was like, I'll actually put this into religion so
Yeah.
that you guys can now like follow it. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And see
Exactly.
that this is like what life should be like. And then the last guru is Guru Gobind
Yeah.
Singh. And basically one of the biggest things he done is, you know, the Sikh symbol. Obviously, I have it on my
Yeah.
necklace. Any of you guys who don't know what it is, just search up Khalsa symbol, Khalsa.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, this symbol was made by, basically what he did was, he took 5 people, okay, and they were each from each caste. So from Brahmin to Dalit, he
Mm-hmm.
took 5 people,
Mm-hmm.
and he basically baptized each and every one of them. So he picked a Brahmin, he said, you come here. He picked the Kshatriya, said, you come here, and so on. And he took them into a tent and he baptized all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And people thought like he was going to kill them, or he was going to do something bad to them, because, or didn't know what he would do to the lower ones. And he brought them out, and he went, and they were all like put in turbans and baptized. And he went, look, these people are all the same. This is a Brahmin and this is a Dalit, and
Wow.
they've all been baptized. They are all equal. So we literally, this symbol was made to show, to literally, it's one of the biggest things in Sikh religion. And it was like, it had to stop caste and to stop inequality. Yet you see people in Sikhism still believe in caste. How can you like I don't understand. Like, you see people wear chains with it on and have like
that
it in
those
their
beliefs.
cars and follow the religion. And like there's like Vaisakhi is one of our festivals on which we celebrate the day that happened, to show our religion like officially being like made, and it, like, to like stop inequality within the religion. And yet our religion still, like, people in our religion still follow caste. It makes no sense. It's like you saying, people pick and choose what they want. You follow the religion, which inherently shows you that inequality is bad, but yet you choose to follow the culture over that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Again, I think it just goes back to power. And Jacob said, like, we have religion, but you know what religion does to man. It's always a circle. If you give someone the power, they are going to discriminate the people who are lower than them. It's going to fucking happen, and you can wear as many religious pendants and stuff as you want.
Exactly.
But you will still find, like, the holiest man, like, the holiest man is going around raping young children.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You hear stories about that. You literally hear them. And it's like that, just because of what you show doesn't make you that. You have to teach yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know
And
what
just
I mean?
because
You have
someone
to
high
believe
up,
it.
yeah, exactly. And just because someone who's looked up to has done something bad doesn't mean the religion is bad. It means that one individual is just made certain decisions in their lives, which obviously we
led
can't
them to where they were.
exactly. We can't back it, but
that doesn't mean the whole religion
is bad. Yeah,
exactly.
It doesn't mean the whole religion is bad, because people are very quick to jump on and be like, oh yeah, and the same thing, like, because obviously that Buddhism sprang off Hinduism, so a lot of things in Buddhism are the same as Hinduism.
Same with Sikhism.
Exactly. We're all the same, and it's like for Hinduism, if we say who came to say that caste was bad, it was Buddha. So in Buddha's
Exactly.
time, he was the one who came and, you know, told people that, you know, discrimination within the caste is bad. So, you know,
It's
for
just wrong. It is.
it is wrong. You know, for Hindus, it's just, you know, he's just another, he's an avatar of Krishna. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
he's just another god who
Exactly.
came into the earth,
Exactly.
who came, you know, here to teach us.
Just teach the truth. Yeah.
Yeah. And people, you know, obviously people don't see it. People don't, you know, they don't see the connection because we take everything so literally. And
Exactly.
yeah, it's just how we're
That
taught.
also touches on another issue, which
Mm,
I find hard in like Nepalese, Indian, whatever, like the Indian traditions, is like they like religion is so rigid. Do you
yes,
know what I
of
mean?
course.
Like
Yeah.
it's extremely rigid, just as the caste system is. It's
Mm,
like me, like obviously I'm a Sikh and I'll like pray
mm,
and like do meditation, which like they teach in Sikhism and stuff like that. But
mm,
I'm also fascinated with Buddhism and I also
of
do
course.
Buddhist techniques and stuff like that. But
Mm,
if I was to tell like elders in my family that, they'd be like, Buddhism, why? Why are
yeah.
you following Buddhism?
Mm,
But and it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like most of these religions, like in Sikhism, I don't know about like other religions, but like in Sikhism, um, the first guru said, he said, every religion is right. He said, no
mm,
religion is wrong. There's no right or wrong religion,
mm,
but each religion is just a path to God, and you can choose which path suits you. And that's what
exactly.
it is. It's like I can be a Sikh, but if I want to look at Buddhism and take something from that to help my
Mm,
spiritual journey from to where I need to be, I
mm,
can do that, because at the end of the day, religion isn't about putting you in a box. It's
yeah.
about it's about your journey. It's about
Yeah.
teaching you how to be a good person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Of
mean?
course. Yeah, I
And
mean,
I feel like,
yeah, go on.
yeah, I just feel like it, like religion as well, with stuff like caste, you see it in religion where it just gets lost in culture.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? It just gets lost
Yeah.
completely.
I think, mate, you've hit the nail on the head. Like, this is a new saying I'll start saying now. But yeah, bro, you have just said, like, you know, you've spoken the truth. You know, we are here to learn. And, you know,
Exactly.
as humans, we are here to experience. And without experiencing, we can't, like, we can't really comprehend the world, like, fully. And it's like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not saying religion is bad, bro. You know, it's a platform for people to like identify themselves as. But this is the thing, like if you say I'm British, if you say I'm from England, you're identified with the British flag, you're
Yeah.
identified to the British
Yeah.
people. And in that, like you said, you're in a box, and
Yeah.
as soon as you have identity, your your intelligence works on like defending it till death. Like, you know, it's like
Exactly.
till death to do us apart. It's like if I'm British,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let anyone talk bad about being British. If I'm Hindu, I'm not
Exactly.
gonna let anyone talk about Hinduism in a bad way. But real knowledge comes from listening to someone else, like listening to their opinion and being like, yo, I get you. You know, I
It's the
might not agree with
acceptance.
you, but I get you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I feel you. You know, because obviously you may belong to a different religion, and I belong to a different religion. But if we can't like be open minded, and if we can't learn from each other, um, then like what's our brain? Why do we have brains? Why do
Exactly.
you know what I mean? Like why
Yeah. Like inherently, like I think you will also agree, because like we've searched like a lot of religion, we've always been into religion and
yeah,
spirituality and stuff like that. Is
yeah,
inherently all religions are the same. Inherently,
yes,
all the teachings, all the foundational teachings of what religion
mm,
teaches you to be are exactly the same. What
yeah,
is different are the cultures and the ways the resources they give you to become that. But the
yeah,
foundational teachings are exactly the same. It's just
exactly,
the ways that they teach you it are different.
are
So it
different.
comes across different.
Yeah. And bro, you know, the amount of times I've been offended by people who come up to me and say like, oh, like, you know, why do you worship rocks? You know, why do you,
Yeah.
what is that?
Or
Why
like,
do you worship rocks? How does rock, you know, what does rock mean? You know, why,
I think one that everyone can, like, if you're in an Indian religion, that you can relate to is cows. Like, even as a
Yeah.
Sikh, we don't eat beef because of our respect for Hindus and the animal itself. Like, what people don't understand is cow is a holy animal in India, not only because of what is said about it in religious texts, but it's because it was a valuable resource in India and throughout the world for like thousands of years. Like, if you think about it, going back to when people didn't have factories, you had to catch your own food, you had to grow your own food. If you had a cow, your cow was your lifesaver, because you
Yeah.
didn't kill that cow to eat it. It gave you milk.
Mm.
It would feed on your grasslands. It would give you manure to make your crops grow. That's why, like, in India, they have so much respect for the animal as
Yeah.
well, and people
Yeah.
ignore that. Like, I've had, oh bro, why don't you eat beef? Yeah, like, why is it holy? Like, do you pray to a cow or something? And
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
are you being that ignorant?
Yeah. And why does your God have a trunk? Why does your God
Yeah,
have an elephant head? You know that.
it's because it's
Yeah.
like, it's like, I don't know, man. It's
No,
really like,
that's literally like saying, yo, why does your God walk on water? Why is Jesus walking on
exactly,
water? Like what?
exactly.
Well, I
But
mean,
obviously, if we said that now, people would be deeply offended.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
exactly. But we've been
And
getting
that
it our whole lives.
it also goes back to, like, literally, that's why like, why it's good why people are standing up now. Do you know
Mm,
what I mean with the whole Black Lives Matter and
yeah.
discrimination in general, like, throughout the world? Because it's true, it's all systematic, and it's
Mm,
all ingrained in governments and
yeah.
in leaders. Like, in India, caste is ingrained in the government.
Yeah.
In UK, US, like, black and people of color oppression is ingrained in the governments. Like,
Yeah.
you literally go to school, they don't teach you about caste, they don't teach you about India, they don't teach you about
Nah.
anything. Do you know what
No
I
way.
mean?
No way.
They don't teach you about black people, they don't teach you
Mm,
about black inventors, or
yeah.
like Indian scientists who did this, or
Of
Chinese
course.
scientists who made that. They
Yeah.
don't, they teach you about this white explorer. Do
Of
you know what I mean?
course. Again, I think that can go back to identity. It's
Yeah,
like if I'm a
exactly.
British, I'm gonna teach my children
Teaching
everything that's
about being
British.
British,
It's like if I'm
exactly.
a, if I'm a Christian, I'm only gonna teach. I'm gonna tell my, I'm gonna tell my kids that Islam is wrong or Hinduism is
It's all
wrong.
in pride.
It's all
Pride
in
can be
pride,
very dangerous.
very
Pride is
dangerous.
dangerous because
And I just, yeah, go on. What are you
no,
saying?
it's like one of the, like, in, like, all Indian religions, like, even in, like, Hinduism, Sikhism, things like greed, pride,
Mm,
stuff like that. They're all evil characteristics of the person,
yeah,
and, like, you need to let go of those. But people
exactly,
don't let go of them. Do you know what I mean?
exactly.
People
That's the
feed
thing.
into them.
Yeah, and that obviously once your ego gets big, you're fucked. Really, like in Hinduism, you're fucked. Big ego,
Yeah.
you just destroy. You start
Same,
destroying
same,
yourself because you say
same.
that I am right.
Ego
I'm
is one
right
of the
about everything.
hardest ones.
Yeah,
Ego
exactly.
is one of
And
the
I
biggest
just
ones.
really
I think we've
quickly
all
wanna,
had problems with it.
yeah,
Yeah, but yeah.
we all have. And you live in being from, you don't even need to live in India to have problems with the caste system. You live in England, and you're
Exactly.
Indian, you see that shit because your parents tell you
Exactly.
not to
You'll
do
know.
this, not to do that. Yeah. But really quickly, I want to go back to the question I get asked by people, why do
Oh
you
yeah.
worship rocks? Why the fuck do you worship rocks? Like, why, how can I, like, I don't agree with you because you worship rocks. All right. So if you are a Hindu, um, you've definitely heard of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, right? The three gods. But you probably don't know what each god stands for and what they mean. Um, so Gurpage, you'll agree with me. Hinduism, it's all about the five senses. It's all about the
Yeah,
elements.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
why
yeah,
we
yeah.
worship everything, right? It's the elements, everything, fire. The fire inside us, water. 72% of us is water. Um, the three gods represent a proton, a neutron, and an electron, which can't be without each other. So when we
Exactly.
worship a rock, we're not actually worshiping
The
um
object. It's
the
not about
object.
the
Yeah,
object. It's
it's,
about the meaning behind it. And
yeah,
that's what
it's
you
it's a
ignore.
different dimension you're trying to touch within
Yeah.
yourself because you're made up of the same elements that the rock is made up of. It's, and you're saying that I am not. You're literally cutting. It's like getting a sharp knife and cutting your ego in half when you worship a rock. You're
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
the rock is no bigger than me. That's why I bow before
exactly.
it.
That's why you're seeing all Indian traditions, Buddhism, Sikhism, Hinduism, and any smaller religions which branch off those,
Mm.
is why meditation and is such a big thing, because it teaches you to be one with yourself and the earth. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean? It teaches you to
exactly.
let go of everything and just be within yourself,
Yeah,
because it shows you you're not your body, you're
yeah,
deeper than that. Do you know what you
exactly.
are? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's mostly science. Our religion is literally
Yeah,
science.
yeah. It's all science. It's all
Yeah,
science. It's just taught in ways which are easy to understand.
understand.
Do you know what
And
I
yeah,
mean?
and it helps to, and it just tries to help where science can't go. It tries to shed light into that by just saying, if you can't find answers of the universe, look within yourself, and look within
Exactly.
yourselves, and you got
It's
it.
like I always like in school, like in King's, yeah, they
Mm.
taught you about Christianity a lot because I did religious studies, and like one of the main, like you do a little section on like religion and science, yeah, and obviously you get taught about Christianity, and one of the main things they say is, oh, in Christianity they talk about the Big Bang, there was a bang and God
Mm.
made the world, but people don't realize that's in every single religion, more or
Yes.
less every.
Yeah.
It's in Hinduism and it's in Sikhism. In Hinduism and Sikhism, it's slightly different because they don't say there was a bang.
Yeah.
They talk about it as um, like singing. They talk
Yeah.
about it as like a sound. I forgot like the exact
The
way to
sound of
describe it.
silence. The sound of
Yeah, yeah,
silence.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's described in the same way, and what you don't see is like you see in religion and science. Some you see you like if you actually research it, they actually balance like more than people actually like
Yeah.
recognize. They
Yes.
balance way more than people recognize.
100%. And bro, I've mad, like how you've touched upon that is mad, because I completely agree with you, and I've been thinking this as well for a long time.
Yeah,
Like you probably know this, when you meditate and you're sitting in a room and you meditate and there is no noise around you, there is still noise within you. There is still, you can,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean, there's a frequency which,
You can feel and like
yeah,
and hear the vibration. It's almost like a
vibrations.
vibration. Yeah,
Exactly. And that's how the world is created in Hinduism. It's the sound of silence. It's when you are silent, the sound is there. But what what the religion says, what Hinduism says is, as you as a person start developing an identity, you start covering up that sound, because
exactly. Your
then your
frequencies
thoughts,
change.
yeah,
Yeah,
your thoughts are packed up, you're constantly 24/7, you're thinking about
exactly.
this and that, you're
Monkey
running
mind.
away. Meditation is literally just sitting down and going back to the sound of silence, because in
Yeah,
doing
just
that you get rid of your thoughts. It's,
exactly.
but obviously
It's just
meditation,
bringing you. It's kind of just bringing you back to reality
yeah,
almost. Like people's lives are so busy, you forget about what it is to just be.
yeah, just be,
Because
yeah,
the only time you get that is like the 10 minutes before you're trying to sleep. Do
yeah,
you know what I mean? That's the
yeah,
only time people will ever experience that if they don't meditate.
yeah, yeah. And people mostly, you probably, the first 2-3 years of your life were the most peaceful life, because you never experienced anything. That's the sound of silence. It's constantly with you.
Exactly.
But then as you start getting intelligence, as people start telling you, you need to learn this and you need to learn that, ABCDE, all of that shit,
It starts
then
stressing
obviously
you out.
language is
Yeah,
a boundary. It's, and
exactly.
we as humans, we want to like break any boundaries, any boundaries we see, like,
Exactly.
if you're the president, you want to be the dictator because you want to own everything. It's like,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? It's like
Exactly.
we want to
Yeah.
break all boundaries, and in doing that, the only time we find that peace within us is literally when we walk to our graves. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Unless you
Yeah.
meditate during your lifetime, unless you like take time
Yeah.
to
Because you,
reflect.
exactly, you just need to kind of just find yourself again,
Yeah,
almost. You know what I mean? Like just
100%.
relaxed once in a while. Like not even like, because people often say, "Oh, I'm gonna relax and then go watch TV.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go
yeah,
relax." Like I would rather someone go relax but go play football for 20 minutes.
yeah,
That's more relaxing than sitting in front of a screen. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
that's still you doing something you love, but outside,
yeah,
like in being, you're
yeah,
doing something for yourself.
yeah.
Do you know what I
You're
mean?
like, you're using all your senses. again, it comes to the five senses. It's like if you're using all your senses, you are meditating because you're concentrating on one thing.
It's like, do you remember we also got taught about Taoism?
Oh yeah, yes, yeah,
And in Taoism, the guy, I think it's like Tao Tzu or something his name was,
yeah,
talks about the flow state in
yeah,
every single sport or anything you do in life. When you do it well, you go, people often say you're in the flow. It
yeah,
goes back to this, is why, like, in meditation you feel it, why
mm,
when you're like, why someone scores a hat trick in a football match, or
yeah,
why you get that, why you have a 1,000-word essay and you only have an hour to do it because you forgot to do it, and you suddenly bang it out in half an
bang it
hour.
out.
It's because
Yeah,
you get into the flow. And
yeah,
people, they just say it as a phrase, but it's your body meditating. It's you getting into
yeah,
that state and using everything you have to be focused
focused. Yeah,
on what you need to do. Do you know
yeah,
what I mean? That's what meditation is. It's like, meditation itself is focused on nothing,
yeah,
or
yeah,
like sounds, or like the senses. But you can do that throughout life, and that's why it's better than to just sit around and do, like, it's better not to sit around and do nothing, and
nothing.
go out and use those senses, and do you know what I mean, and get into like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. It's like, you're here for a reason, and you can be the doctor you want to be. You can be the successful artist you want to be. You can be whatever you want to be, but at the end of the day,
Exactly.
you got to go back. You got to go back. So you have to, like, the only way, Hinduism teaches you that if you really want to find happiness, you need to just get in touch with yourself, because everything, when you look for happiness
It
outside of
starts
you,
with you.
yeah, if you're looking for happiness outside of you, then it will be a very,
Exactly.
oh, bro, I don't even want to say it, but it'll be a sad life.
No,
You
it
Because
does. Like,
people will always let you down, and because they're, we all have our own needs, and we can't just
exactly, it happens,
fulfill
but that's why you
expectations.
need
Yeah,
to be in touch with yourself. Do you know what I mean? I think,
exactly.
like, a message to anyone listening is like, I feel like we all work very hard, even if you feel like you don't. Like, you do it a
Yes.
lot, like, whether it's for yourself or people, whether it's in your education, whether you're going to work. So, like,
Mm.
just give yourself that time. Like, you deserve it. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? You need to, like,
exactly.
you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to look
Yeah,
after yourself, because people neglect looking after themselves. People, like, when you talk about looking after yourself, you're like, oh yeah, I had a shower, I brushed my teeth. Like, do you know what I
mm,
mean?
mm.
That's inherently looking after yourself. But
Yeah,
it also means, like, doing something you like. It also means, like, actually reacting, like,
yeah,
relaxing. It also means go do an activity you enjoy, meditate, do
mm,
something for yourself to kind of remember who you are, because you're, like, it happens to all of us, happens to me.
yeah,
You get lost in, I've got an exam, I've got this, I need to do this, I've
exactly,
got work tomorrow, I've got this tomorrow. Do
exactly.
you know what I mean? And you forget
It's a
about why you're even doing all these things.
Exactly. You're here for, a greater purpose. You're here for a greater reason. And, you're gonna, there's gonna be shit that's gonna happen your whole life. You're not gonna be happy every day. And we know
Exactly.
this, happiness isn't guaranteed. We know all of this. But if someone chops off your leg, they may chop off both of your legs, they may chop off both of your hands. They might burst your eardrums, or they might get rid of your, they might, cut your tongue off or whatever. But at the end
Yeah,
of the day, you're gonna have to live with your head. Because
exactly.
if they shoot the head, then you're dead. Or if they
Exactly.
shoot the heart, then you're dead. If they get rid of
Exactly.
those vital organs, you're dead. But if they don't, even if you lose a leg, you're gonna have to live with it, and you're gonna have to live in your head. So just finding peace in your head is the biggest thing, because then you realize that this body isn't me. It's just a
Yeah,
vessel for my mind.
exactly.
Um,
It's you put that perfectly. Like you said, you have got no legs, you've got no arms, you've got no anything. You'll still have your brain. You'll still be thinking at night, all day, every day. Do you know what I mean?
exactly,
So you've got to look after it.
exactly,
Why do you
exactly.
think mental health is touchy, but yet such a big issue?
Mm,
Like,
definitely.
why are people still depressed? Why are people still anxious? Why do
Yeah,
people get all these disorders? And because they don't look after their brain, and you're not
brain.
taught to look after your brain.
Yeah,
Like what we were saying before, is in school they don't teach about, like, people of color. They don't teach about religions, like many religions. They don't teach about, like, meditation. They don't teach about anything. They
nothing.
don't
Yeah.
teach about looking after yourself. It's
Mm.
just all words,
Words.
and what makes them look good. It's almost like I said, it's the government. It's like they
Mm.
teach you what they need from you.
Yeah,
and what they
that's it.
want you to know, and not
That's
what
it.
you need to like do your research. Like even if you think, oh, meditation that's boring or
Yeah,
something like that, like I guarantee you'll find some sort of meditation which you'll connect with.
work for you. Yeah, which will work for you.
Because like even for me, like even though it's not really seen as meditation, one of
Mm,
the best things for me that helped me like stop feeling so anxious was working out. Like the
mm,
reason that I work out a lot now, because when I work out, it's like I'm in the zone, I'm
yeah,
working out, I'm doing that. Like my
yeah.
mind's at rest. I know I have my goal to work out. I know
Hmm.
what I'm doing. And literally for like an hour and a half, my mind's at peace because I'm just
Yeah,
doing what I need to do. Do you know what I
exactly.
mean? So like
Exactly.
that's what like we're trying to say. Like just,
Yeah,
it's good to find that.
it is. And just on that note, we'll just um, we'll just conclude this whole podcast.
Yeah,
Um, it's been a touchy one. I know it's
it
been a real
has,
touchy one, like the last one. I don't know
of
why we keep
course.
doing the touchy ones.
Yeah,
But if you experience caste discrimination within your household, please, please, please speak up. Don't be scared.
exactly.
Because without you, like, change can't happen.
Nothing will
Same with Black
change.
Lives Matter. If your
Yeah,
parents are discriminating black people, in any way, make sure you say what needs to be said. Not
yeah,
even what you want to say, what needs to be said. Make sure you say it.
yeah.
Um,
Just educate yourself, everyone
yeah,
around you, your
yeah,
parents. Don't shy away from it because,
exactly.
like what I've been seeing with Black Lives Matter and this, and anyone going through any oppression, discrimination, just anything bad,
Mm,
like sometimes it needs to be said. Do you know what I mean? Like
exactly.
sometimes the most uncomfortable things need to be done.
Need to be done. And I assure you, I can guarantee you that it will. When you stand up to your parents, it will feel 1,000 times. You'll get 1,000 times more dopamine hit than when you put up a black picture on Instagram with a post saying Black
Yeah,
Lives Matter. And I
exactly. Like
assure
we're
you,
not telling you to go post about it or do that, but
yeah,
like literally, like you said, even just having a convo with your mum
yeah,
in private would do a
that's
lot
it.
more for change than anything else. Do you know what I
Anything
mean?
else? Yeah,
Because change comes with us. Do you know what
yeah,
I mean? Change comes with the people, not
yeah,
what's around it.
yeah. You can change the laws, but the government would always suppress us. No matter what, they will find other ways to suppress.
Exactly. Yeah.
But if we change ourselves, they won't have anything to suppress. Then that's the real problem. It's not about, like, destroying the economy. It's about just educating ourselves and figuring out how they are messing with us. Because then if we do that, they won't have any other ways to mess with us. But if we just go out and protest and change a few laws, they'll, it doesn't matter. Why do you think they're not scared right now? Why is the government not
Exactly.
giving a fuck? They're just chilling. It's not,
Exactly.
they don't give a fuck. They don't care. Because they know at the end of the day, in a few weeks' time, everyone's going to go back to normal. And the people at the top are literally watching us on a screen, laughing, saying, oh, look, they're
Exactly.
taking those fucking statues down.
It's
Ha
like
ha ha. Like,
what I saw is like the protests have been good, yeah,
mm,
because
mm,
there's been a lot of good change,
of
but I've
course,
also
yeah.
seen some change which is just like just doesn't make sense. So like I saw a couple of weeks ago, New York, they have a budget, yeah, of
Mm,
1.4 billion
mm-hmm,
right dollars for their policing. So they have a
yeah.
1.4 billion dollar budget for their policing,
Mm-hmm,
and they are giving 100 million to communities, which is amazing.
mm-hmm.
But in the scale of things,
Well, it's not
if you've
enough.
got 1.4 billion to spend
Mm,
on guns and
mm,
uniform,
yeah,
and you're only giving a small fraction of that to communities who need help,
yeah.
it's not really
It's not good
like a
enough.
big thing. It's
Yeah.
just to make themselves look good. Do you know what
Mm,
I mean?
it's
Like
not
you
good
wouldn't
enough.
need 1.4 billion dollars
Mm,
of funding for police if you
mm,
actually helped people,
yeah,
if you changed people, if you educated people, if you gave
yeah,
them jobs, gave them opportunity. Policing, you wouldn't need money for it. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
It
and
wouldn't
that's
be
the
an
thing. I
issue.
don't think they will, like, defunding the police and stuff. I know a lot of people are like, backing that, and I completely agree with that. But
Yeah,
at the end of the day, there's so much money that the system has that
that it
defunding
hides.
defunding the police, it
Yeah,
doesn't matter. Again, they're just laughing at us. They're looking and laughing, and they'll just cut it. They'll be like, yeah, all right, go on then. just defund them a little bit, because they'll find other things to put the money into, and they will tell you that we're funding these charities, this and that, but that money will be going to Iraq to do you know what I mean, to kill
Exactly.
innocent lives,
Bullets,
to Yemen.
bombs.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of caste discrimination,
Yeah.
the main thing is to just talk about it, and like we said, talk about to the people you love, talk about to the people you don't love, just everyone really.
Just everyone, yeah. Like,
Yeah,
literally is education, like we've been saying. Like, there's so many resources out there, like books. I'm pretty sure, like, if you went on YouTube and just searched caste system in India, they'll come up with a documentary which will literally tell you all about this in detail. Which, you know what I mean?
yeah. But again, it's awareness that's important for us to talk about it. But yeah, I mean,
Like, it's also like with what's happened with the Black Lives Matter and stuff. I feel like a lot of things needs to do like happen with Indians as well, with kind of like also educating like everyone, not even just yourselves, but like
yeah,
everyone with caste. So like showing people like what it is, like what the problems are, like literally just, and also balancing like media views of it, because in
yeah,
India obviously caste is hidden or seen as just a social structure which is in the country, and here it's not really talked about, like you don't really see it in the media. So I guess like if people are speaking out on it and actively want change, it will balance
yeah,
what the media is like portraying. Do you know what I mean? Just
exactly.
like the Black Lives Matter movement and it's doing for Black people and people of color. I feel like we have a duty to do that if we
Yeah,
want to stop caste as well. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
It's up to us at the end of the
Yeah.
day to make the necessary changes. But yeah, I mean, the whole situation is fucked up, and you know, a lot of people suffer from caste discrimination, and it puts a limit on who you can be, like in the greater scheme of things. You know, you like limit the lower castes from being the best they can be and stuff. But yeah, I mean, yeah, the whole,
It's just
yeah,
yeah, it's just like we've been saying, it's just destroying itself
yeah,
really. That
exactly.
caste is destroying India without anyone even trying to stop it.
Yeah,
And I feel
yeah,
like change needs to happen now.
yeah,
Like it's not about like later
mm,
or try or we're trying, like change
yeah,
needs to happen now. Like
no,
there's no point in trying, like
yeah,
just do it. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? Do as much as you can. Not telling you to go out and like go to India and like, do you know what I mean? I'm not
yeah, yeah,
telling you
yeah,
to do that. We're just trying to say like just do what you can. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Because change does need to happen.
And there are a lot of ways to, like, show your support, um and there are a lot of communities who are working together to overcome the problem. And like in a country like England, you can you can do your bit. That's the least you can do. You can just do
Yeah,
your bit, and just the universe after that, what happens is on whatever happens, really. But at least that
exactly.
way you'll know that you've done something.
Exactly. Or like we said, all you can do is try. You can just
Exactly.
like all you can do is just do what you can for the cause, and hopefully it will change.
Yeah, exactly, man. But yeah, I mean, this has been a long ass
Yeah,
conversation.
it
um
has. It's been a good one. It's been
it's
a
been a
good
good
one.
disclaimer,
It's been nice to yeah.
yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say disclaimer, listen to this with an open mind.
Exactly.
If you
This is
have listened this
just
far, you know,
it's just our views. Obviously, you guys will
yeah,
have your own views, and
exactly.
you
It's a
can
free,
take just take what you can from this, and yeah,
yeah,
just literally you can have this conversation with like we're doing it on a podcast, but you can do this with your friends, with your family. Do you know what I
exactly.
mean? So
That's it. It's
yeah,
actually
just
talking about it. Yeah, it's talking about it.
that's calm.
Thank you so much for listening so far. I hope you enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
thank you.
It's a proper deep one, but
It was good. It was good. Yeah.
yeah. All right. Thank you for coming on, Gurpage, and we shall talk very soon again. Another deep
Yeah.
topic or something like that.
Yeah, I'm
All
down.
right.
And yeah,
My
see you
love.
guys next time.
All right. All
Love.
my love, bro. Bye.